Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep. And in this video we are going to attempt to answer the biggest question in One Punch Man. I mean, if you haven't thought about this question for even a second, then I think I'm gonna have to beat some sense into you to start questioning things a bit more.
Are you sure about that?
Anyways, please just listen to my attempt at answering why Saitama is so strong. We are going to give you an analytical answer and a theoretical one based upon the events in the manga. So if you do enjoy this video, please let me know by smashing that like button and letting me know by commenting what other One Punch Man topics you want me to talk about in the future. Without further ado, let's cue the intro.
You don't fuck with neck, bro.
So let's start with the analytical answer since it's easier to explain and is pretty obvious. One Punch Man explores the idea of what makes a superhero with a neutral and unbiased perspective. For example, it shows the unethical side of a superhero world with the character Sweet Mask. Sweet Mask represents the duality within all of us because all of us could be evil and good at the same time. Sweet Mask stated that he believes heroes are to protect citizens, and if they can't do that, they must become strong enough to be able to do so. However, befitting to his hero name Sweet Mask, behind that marks that we all bear ourselves in real life, his deceitful, merciless nature displays his darker side. He is shown to have a burning hatred for anything that he sees as evil. Anything he declares as evil must be swiftly and thoroughly exterminated. So Sweet Mask is shown to adhere to any method that makes a hero popular, right? Basically, he's a character that is an example of how someone would end up given the circumstances and culture. So One Punch Man shows that true heroes are left behind because of politics created by people who aren't even worthy of calling themselves heroes in the perception that we may have today. The anime explores many themes such as people's ignorance who can't critically think and question what they see in the news. One Punch Man touches on how power and money corrupts the infrastructure. It tells us that being nice will not get you anywhere sometimes. So the writing has built a somewhat negative world where people expect themselves to be protected and have taken heroes for granted. It's subverting the traditional outlook if superheroes existed in real world, right? Stereotypically, we all know in media heroes are shown to be stoic and the epitome of justice, right? However, One Punch Man is saying there is not a world that is pure and has absolute justice. Even if heroes existed, it's still full of hardship and ignorance. Now this is because the culture and people change accordingly. King in season 2 of One Punch Man also relays this message again. Now this is slight spoilers, but King is basically a character that ended up S rank because people assumed he is the one that killed the villains after Saitama would fix the problem. So the anime often relays the message of perception and what people choose to believe. Because King looks a certain way and has a scar, people automatically assume he's a badass. So One Punch Man is poking fun at the idea of judging someone by their looks. It tells us to stop looking at everything at surface level but critically think and question the reality we live in. Now I'm sounding quite preachy here, but just give me a second, let me go balls deep, man. So if you haven't seen our 5 things you didn't know about Saitama video,
what are you doing with your life?
Please check it out, please, because we explain one, the creator of One Punch Man, he wanted to subvert the idea of a hero with his character Saitama, even when it came to design and power. Saitama and the situation he's put in by the narrative, the way he looks and his outlook on life, is meant to challenge the negatives or flaws of society that we all may notice ourselves, but we choose to ignore. One specifically created Saitama to be this all-powerful gag character to explore these themes. Now Saitama is often described to be a character that is as strong as the plot needs him to be, but that's what makes things even more hilarious. It's adhering to the fact that one, he wanted to challenge expectations and what actually makes a hero. So the characters in the Hero Association themselves, for example, they think Saitama looks like a normal person with no special qualities. On top of that, the public also judges heroes based on their rankings, but Saitama himself, he doesn't meet any of these at the moment for his public image. In fact, they treat him differently with less respect because of this. One, the creator of One Punch Man, uses Saitama's power and gag to portray a message to everyone in the anime and we the viewers, that anyone could be a hero. He said it himself that he's exploring the idea of what makes a hero with Saitama. Now in my opinion, Saitama is likely gonna be a triumph story in the end where everyone realizes that he is the best hero because he chooses to be himself. He doesn't act fake, he doesn't talk fake or is materialistic. He doesn't care about the things that others invest so much into that mean nothing in the long run anyways. And that's one of the messages of the show. For instance, Saitama and Moomin Rider, they both have the same heart and character. However, there's the only one difference, and that's the massive power between them. So the anime is asking the question to you guys, what is the core of a hero? What makes a hero a hero? So all in all, Saitama's power itself is an obvious representation to break away from these tropes of life where the character represents each fundamental issue in our own society, and Saitama's character makes a parody of all of it, which is hilarious. So one made Saitama the most overpowered character in the show because of this, basically. And that's the analytical answer done. Let's go to the theoretical one. So for the theoretical answer based on the manga, the series hasn't really explored exactly how Saitama became so powerful. Instead, it led us to believe that Saitama's power is the result from his training. Now, Kevin, I want you to show a clip of Saitama showing he's running and then make it funny.
What? Make it funny? What are you talking about? This is an important moment in Saitama's character development. How am I supposed to make that funny? How is that even possible?
Dance to
Now, granted, this is a very basic workout, but it's still extremely difficult to do on a consistent manner, and Saitama done this every day with no breaks, even till this day. Now, why has that caused Saitama's power and speed to be absolutely broken? Well, the concept throughout the early part of the series suggests that humans can evolve depending on what is going on in their lives and how they interact. This is depicted with many of the villains that we see, like Crablante, who was once a man who, after eating too much crab, ended up transforming into a crab humanoid. So, just like that, in this universe, extraordinary things occur. Another instance is Vaccine Man, who was formed from the pollutions on Earth. Now, one after another, characters are brought up and materialize from extreme conditions or obsessions of a particular theme. And like the fact in this universe, having too much crabs, you could potentially become a crab embodying the will. So too much exercise and consistently breaking the body and mind limits like Saitama did, it will possibly end up giving you the result of being limitless, logically speaking, establishing the rules of the universe in this anime. Saitama training so hard wasn't what made him so strong. For example, if someone who is very fit decided to take on the training regime, they may be able to even outdo Saitama, possibly doing 200 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and maybe even a 20-kilometer run. Like, even in our own world, we have individuals capable of such feats, but doing this doesn't mean you will achieve limitless potential. What gave Saitama his power was the fact that he wasn't so strong enough to begin with, and every day he was breaking his own limits. When his body gave up, he just kept on going. When Saitama hit rock bottom, he never stopped, and because of his consistency and his want and obsession to become the best hero without breaks, his body began to manifest what his mind was visualizing, and it started to evolve, giving Saitama unlimited power. The laws of the One Punch Man universe can back this claim up and push Saitama's acceleration of evolution. This idea is also supported by the story itself. The organization known as the House of Evolution, for example, which was run by Dr. Genus, he had the goal to give humans perfection through the means of artificial evolution. Dr. Genus felt that humans needed to evolve, but they were limited and needed an outside factor to facilitate the evolution. However, once Dr. Genus witnessed Saitama's fight with Carnage Kabuto, he began to realize that humans can evolve by themselves by making the change from within. He then explained that Saitama surpassed the idea of humans having limits by constantly breaking his own, and the idea of having limits vanished in the sight of Saitama. Saitama no longer has any limits. He is overpowered. He has limitless power. Genus goes on to detail on his theory about Saitama's power. In order to function, every living thing needs to have limitations placed on themselves, or else the immense power of limitless being would drive them absolutely insane. In Saitama's case, aside from losing all of his hair, he lost the will to live and experience an alienation from his surroundings. So let's break down everything we just said. In the world of One Punch Man, there are a couple of observing realities. The One Punch Man world is filled with ordinary humans, heroes with abnormal powers, monsters, and aliens. The powered up humans and monsters are created by the laws of the One Punch Man universe, where an obsession or determination, it can cause accelerated evolution. Now, this evolution can be effectively creating a monster or a hero. More likely, a obsession will result in something negative and the outcome would be a monster, whereas determination would result in the most positive outcome, which is a hero. So there is a parallel between the two. Saitama wasn't really obsessed on being a hero, but he was really determined. Now, you guys are probably thinking, what's the difference? Well, obsession is filling the mind with something that would eventually cause worry and then loss of control, whereas determination is making a decision and then having the resolve to not go back on that decision. So the two are separated by the level of clarity of your mind. One could say that they are even polar opposites, as having a resolve, one would need peace and sound of mind, but being obsessed would mean loss of control of yourself. So coming back to the point, right, Saitama wasn't obsessed, but he was determined to be the strongest hero, so the One Punch Man universe granted him that wish. The last point to make is the concept of God in the series. Now, I'm not talking about the God as we understand it from our real world, but God as in a character mentioned to us by Homeless Emperor. By the way guys, this is major spoilers ahead, but it's worth a listen, just listen to me, goddammit. So towards the start of the battle involving disaster level dragon monsters and the S-class heroes in the Garu arc, we learned that Homeless Emperor received his powers from a person or being known as God. So Zombie Man later proceeds to gather information about this being known as God, and we come to find out this God has the ability to grant supernatural powers to individuals, as it gave Homeless Emperor the incredible power of summoning energy spheres. So the possibility that this being known as God is also responsible for the abnormality in the One Punch Man universe is kinda likely. This God is also said to be capable of taking back the granted powers along with the lives of the wielders that he gave them to. Did he give Saitama these powers? Does this God fulfill the obsession and resolve of humans and their creations? What if he's the one that removes people's limiters too? What if he gave Saitama limitless power just so he can have a flavorful opponent himself in the future? What if Saitama finally finds a worthy opponent and that is God himself? So Dr. Genos even mentions how God has placed limiters on human beings for their own good, right? But of course he's probably talking about God as in the creator itself, but who is this God that is also the creator and the person that gave these powers to all these other characters? We just don't know. Pretty much I think maybe Saitama could also have simply broke all his limits and power on his own, and this God, this Kami type character is going to be the final antagonist of the series and the final challenge for Saitama, where he finally gets someone that is as powerful as him and blah 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 blah. You guys get the story. Anyway guys, make sure to smash that like button. Let me know your theory, what you think about Saitama, how did he break his powers, and let me know any topics that you want us to do. Make sure to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time.
Are you sure?